few more minutes. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Jennifer, how are you feeling?
Me?
Can you hear me?
Good.
Wait a minute, I got two Jennifers on here. All right, now we've got two of you.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm feeling a little rough actually, but it's getting better.
Well, take it easy, okay? Let us cover whatever you have so that you're not
Yeah,
there.
I will.
I've talked to many other agents at different offices and companies that are in the same boat, and a couple in the hospital. So
Yeah, it's rough, but we're doing better. I think the vaccine is helping keep the symptoms down, so it could be a lot worse.
yeah, that's what I think too. As frustrating as it is that we got this vaccine and we're still getting it, I have a feeling you're right that it could have been
Yeah.
worse. And I
I
think
mean,
this
we were
variant
doing
now-
all the right things. I had it delivered right to my door. So
oh my gosh, are you serious?
yeah, friends of ours went to Florida, and the day they got back, they stopped by. They were just out for a drive and they were in our neighborhood. So they just stopped by unannounced, and we visited for like an hour, and then they left. And 2 days later, she said they were positive.
One of the other people, it's a realtor somewhere else, not in our office, but she went to Florida and came back with it too.
Yeah, and then I heard on the news this week that Florida is really bad right now. And it's because it's a vacation destination, and everybody, including myself, felt like we were pretty safe with the vaccine.
Yeah, I thought I was too. I mean, I've been out gallivanting around thinking I'm fine. Now I'm like, oh my gosh, like,
The worst
yeah.
part is that I knew I didn't feel good, but I thought I just had a cold, and I was everywhere. I visited my dad, I visited my cousins, I went to the contracts meeting. I was just doing all my stuff. Never even occurred to me it was COVID.
Yeah, I know. Everyone else has said the same thing. They thought it was allergies. They thought it was cold. And I think we just weren't prepared for this. So
Yeah.
just like we weren't prepared for the first one.
Yeah.
We had a false sense of security with our vaccine.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Was everyone on here? If y'all notice, we actually have a Shalaya back, so we're able to see the lead generation model. Do y'all see it on your screens?
Mhm.
Wonderful, wonderful. See, Shalaya, you're greatly missed when you're not here. Alice and I did the best we could. So this is actually one of my favorites as well, which is why I am giving this class. I love lead gen. And also it helps me learn. Look at everybody that's here. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. We're hoping that we can go back with masks and 6 feet apart to some in-person classes, but we just didn't want to take any chances right now. So just remember, no one likes the mask. I can't stand it, but we're going to have to wear it for a while again because it seems like a lot of people are getting this new variant here. So are y'all ready? So the lead generation model, Shalai, you want to go ahead and move it? I don't know if I can. There we go. So we're going to talk about prospecting based marketing enhanced. I want you guys to ask questions at any time. Don't be shy. I don't care if you interrupt me. I would rather you ask your question at the time that you have it, because sometimes you'll get stumped further down if you don't. I must have been a question person growing up, because I don't like it when somebody tells me to wait until the end. So we're going to talk a little bit. I've got some notes here, so I'll be looking at it. The lead generation model is the second of the 5 fundamental models, and the important first of the L's, the 3 L's, the model of leads, listings, and leverage. By embracing the benefits of the lead gen model, you're on your way to building a system for consistently generating leads. Remember, this is a model that scales as your database grows. You will never stop using this model. If you're going to grow in real estate, you have to continue to work this. If you're on a team, you can work it on your team database. You'll have your own in there and you're able to market it as well as your own. But if you don't and you forget about these leads, it doesn't do you any good to put them in there. So the lead generation, this is your business. So we're going to talk a little bit about marketing and prospecting and what the difference is. Prospecting, I'm going to start at the bottom in the triangle. It's immediate results, it's proactive, it's time intensive, so it takes your time, but it has quick results. The marketing is more money intensive and passive and long-term results. So if you're starting out in real estate and you want fast results, you have to go and prospect. Does anyone have a success story they want to share about their prospecting that they've done since they got licensed? Tyler, not to put you on the spot, but you just got something yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. It was actually a Facebook post. There's a for sale by owner, and I reached out to them and asked if I could do a CMA on their house, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to get the listing. I'm not sure. They haven't reached out today, but they said they would let me know today.
That's awesome. Yeah. And after we get off, maybe just reach back and, reach back out to them again. Here's the thing. Tyler made the call because he saw it. What would have happened if Tyler had never made the call? Well, nothing would have happened. Same thing. The reason Riley isn't on here is that he did an open house, which I know a couple of you are trying to get into some open houses, which I'm trying to work on for you. But he did an open house, and this is one of his buyer leads that he got from it, and they did sign a buyer agreement. So that's 2 brand spanking new agents that have had the success, and that was from prospecting. Again, we're going to talk a little bit more about how to get them, but if you don't do it, it won't happen. So lead generation is capturing leads and putting them in your database. Without leads, you have no business. So, agents through the years before they had databases and that kind of thing, they would sit in the office waiting for somebody to walk in and say they wanted to buy a house. It's just not that way anymore. You have to get out there and you have to capture your own leads and work your database. Your database is your business. That happens through prospecting and marketing. Leads don't just show up on your doorstep. They do take effort. If you don't want to do it, you're just not going to get anything. Consider how many databases own your contact information. You get all these, things coming through your email as well. Anything that you purchased online, they have your data. And you'll see that some of them work it really well. Some of them work it to the point of irritating. So where you're trying to get rid of them. In the new version of MREA, there are no more METs and haven't METs. Right now, we're saying that they're leads, and those are people who have shown some sort of interest in the services you offer, but you have not engaged in a two-way conversation. A two-way conversation means that you're talking to each other, not that you've reached out them via text or left them a message or sent them an email. A contact is someone whom you have held a two-way conversation and they've established some sort of a relationship. They may not be a client yet, but they are a contact. The key difference between the two is whether or not you have spoken with each other. Even if you talk to someone, again, in the grocery store, in the department store, at a school meeting, when you talk to them about real estate, then that is a two-way conversation. So pretty much prospecting is one of the one-on-one with immediate feedback that can almost cost nothing. Okay. It didn't, Tyler, did you spend any money on that person you spoke with?
No.
Yeah. So it was a free lead. Marketing is not immediate and not focused on one person and can cost a lot of money. The most effective lead generation blends both of these. When I started out in business, I only did the prospecting. That was my only thing that I did, was prospect, prospect, prospect. And, you know, that is how I established a lot of the referrals that I get today. So use marketing to enhance your prospecting. For instance, offer coupons or discounts and follow up with a phone call or a personal email. You know, what is your lead generation style? Do you like prospecting, marketing, or both? Marketing is great, but marketing is very expensive and you need to lead with revenue. I do have a system where I purchase leads, but I did not do that for the first 7 years I was in business. It was only whenever I expanded my team. Which takes more time? Prospecting or marketing?
Prospecting.
It takes more of your time, but you get immediate results. Whereas marketing will take more time and you don't get immediate results. So they kind of both do. Which one costs more? Marketing. Marketing can cost a lot of money. And you can create your entire business without marketing or just doing a version of both. And if you want to generate a lead more quickly, that would be prospecting, picking up that phone when you see something. When you drive by a for sale by owner and you just keep driving, you might be passing up your future income. So, you know, make the phone call. And if you're trying to get open houses, contact a for sale by owner and ask them if you can do an open house for them. There are some legal ramifications. You do have to get a listing signed for that day, but you know, you can do an open house and you can market it for them. If they never hire you to sell that house, number one, you've met them, you might be able to help them sell a house. Number two, you're going to get buyers that come in there. Buyers are great because they're also probably going to be listing their home as well. So you might be able to get a 2-for-1. But again, if you drive past that sign and you don't do anything, then nothing is going to come to you. And if tomorrow or today that person calls Tyler back and they're like, yeah, you know, we just decided to do this, or we met, you know, that we have this friend, he hasn't heard anything because it didn't cost him anything but time. And, you know, and I'm very impressed that you did that, Tyler. So on a lead is a person who shows interest to your services. Shalaya, let's go to the next one, because I'm getting ahead of us. So is this page 2? It's not page 2 of mine. So this one right here is, Shala, these are different than mine. 82% of your business comes from 4 sources or less. Can you guys, I know some of you are new, so you probably don't have some of this information, but a couple of you have been in the business for a while. Michelle, who's sitting there, you can share. Let's talk about where 82 of your business comes from with 4 sources or less. And I did jot this down to go over with you, but it was on a different page. So if you're starting out, probably your number one source is going to be referrals, and that's going to be from your sphere. Has everyone put their sphere into their database? And I'm going to back this up a little bit because I haven't had all of you in my classes. Just in case you were really brand spanking new and you just did your onboarding, your sphere are the people that you know. These are all your friends, your relatives, your coworkers, someone you went to high school with, or somebody that, you know, your child's teacher, someone at church. These are going to be the people that you know. And most of these people are going to be in your phone. So you download your phone. If you don't know how, you go to Shalaya and she's going to help you do it. Get that into your database. Those are your sphere. You know, the other one, you know, might be, you know, a referral from someone you've done business with in the past. That's another one. These are your number one things that you want in your business. If you don't have referrals and you've been in the business for a while, then you have to stop and think, am I not engaging with my past clients? And it takes time. Do you know that after 6 years in the business, you could basically only sell to your sphere and no one else, and only network with your sphere and your referrals, and you would have a successful business. The other one is, can't remember what I said, open houses. That's another one that is a very inexpensive, business source. If you're not doing open houses, get out there and do them. Ask another Keller Williams agent. I'm working on some for a few people now with some of my listings, but I need you to do the open houses because they do work. Like I say, Riley is out showing property right now to somebody that was from an open house he did for someone else. Can y'all think of any other place where your business comes from? And of course, yes, we might have leads that we purchase, from our database. There's many different sources that you can have. Some people like to do, quarterly, invitation only to their database. Anything else that y'all can think of, but I feel like you need to concentrate on the first 4 sources. Do not go down a rabbit trail of chasing the shiny penny. Focus on that.
Hey, Teresa, because I love you, I'll participate. Hey, so I get some of mine from Facebook. I've had people in the last 3 months, 3 different people send me a private message on Facebook. It's my professional one. And they'll say, hey, I saw your sign at whatever, address 123 Main Street. Will you come by and look at my house? Because it's usually in a neighborhood I have my sign in or something. Another thing is, if you pick one neighborhood and you really, really work it and send letters, like you said, you can send things out. So letters and follow-ups, if you live in a neighborhood that has a POA or homeowner association, go to those meetings, get to know the people. That's all free. I mean, yeah, it's time and you got to work around your family, especially if you have kids and it's summertime and you'd rather be on the lake. But you got to put the time in, and all that is free. Because I do spend some money in advertising, not probably as much as you, Teresa. Same thing. I'm at year 8 and I'm starting to where I can spend money on stuff. But those are some of the free things. Facebook, pick a neighborhood because you can't cover everything. But if you concentrate on that neighborhood and you keep sending something out, you're pretty much branding, and you're going to keep that in their head, kind of like the 7 touches you guys talk about. That's some of mine.
No, thank you.
And you've named other ones that I do as well.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, because if you try to throw too many things out there, you're going to have a hard time because you're not going to specialize in anything. So here's another thing too. After completing the economic model, you know how many appointments you must go on each week. So now you're going to ask, how do I get those appointments? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So you want to talk about your market, your preferences, your budget, your skill, and your goals. So everyone has a different talent, and you need to think about what your talent is. Not everyone is going to be comfortable knocking on somebody's door, and so you need to figure out what your talent is. It says many agents do spur of the moment, idea of the month prospecting and marketing. They adopt new lead generation programs from the latest and best of the most creative idea ever seminar. And that is something that you can do that as your last thing. Don't always try to skip to the newest and the best that you see on something. Keep going on your tried and true. If it's working, focus on it more. Prospecting is face-to-face, proactive, and can generate immediate response. Marketing is more of a casting a wide net and luring people with its offers. So, I want you to think about that the prospecting actually does work. It's proven to work better. It's not the easiest one, and you have to get out of your comfort zone. So some activities are a combination. Farming, which is what Michelle was just talking about, which means being in the community, calling and door knocking, and having billboards and neighborhood newsletters. Marketing, open house marketing draws people into an opportunity to prospect. you know, text offering messages, creating prospecting to, so when you reach out to someone, you have to reach out to them with a purpose, and you need to think about that person, because if you're doing something for senior citizens downsizing, you don't want to send it to your new growing family. So categorize your people into similar, you know, if they're teachers at a school, you know, they're going to have some different interests, you know, than maybe somebody that's at a different phase in their life. So try to categorize your leads so that when you do this touch marketing, that you're hitting them. Does anyone have any questions or, you know, suggestions for ideas that you've had? Elia, do you mind turning it, please? What's on the next page? So here's one. These are different from what my book is, but your lead capture, you know, you want to start, you see that, you prospecting and marketing, you throw it all into your database. What happens when you don't put people in your database? I'm going to tell you right now that I know a huge majority of people, agents all over the country, do not put people in their database. If you don't put them in their database, you're not going to grow. You're still going to kind of get somebody, you know, your grandma might call and the lady at her church might be selling her house. But if you do not have them in your database and create that, you will not have a business. And you know, you can actually sell your business when you retire. So, you know, think about this. It's a business. It's not something that you're just kind of dabbling in. So here's your database, then you get your leads and you form relationships with them. And then they turn into contacts, and then you strengthen existing relationships. So at that point, that's when you start, you know, creating a personal relationship with your clients. You want them to always think of you as the go-to. A good example is, you know, maybe it's someone that you never sold a house to. Maybe it's just someone that's in your database and, you know, they have a problem with their roof or they need a plumber. You need to be that person that they think of immediately when they need a plumber. You don't want them to call somebody else. And I will tell you that probably 10% of my time is responding to my clients, whether it's from a year ago or 10 years ago or 20 years ago, that has some kind of a situation they need help with. And I never act like I don't have time. If I am busy, I always tell them I'll call them right back, and I do. And I try to send them these contacts because they know that I'm going to help them. So when they're ready, you know, we've kept this communication going. Prepare contacts for conversion, interactive and needs-based offerings. Then you get into the new and repeat and the referral. So this, it's like a loop. It just keeps going. And that's what your business is. It's one big loop. For homework, I would like to ask all of you to go and find vendors. And I want you to get 3 vendors a piece for every category. I go in the, you know, the old fashioned telephone book. I got one the other day. I got ready to throw it away. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to throw this away because I think I might use this for my prospecting. Go and find out. I want you to get 3 plumbers, 3 roofers, 3 window people, 3 concrete people, landscapers, on and on and on. For every aspect that goes into a house, I want you to have this vendor list. Then you contact the vendors and you tell them that you would like to start sending referrals their way. And then ask them, you know, do you have people who might be, you know, looking to buy or sell their home? Because if somebody's calling someone, you know, that's a roofer, maybe they're thinking about selling their house. So get these people, you know, in your database. And so when you're working with someone, you need to offer that and just say, hey, if you need any of these people, you know, that are, you know, for working on your home, I'm going to help you to, you know, and when you get your own vendors, what happens is where they might not treat someone off the street well and show up or have time for them, your vendors will treat your people special because you send them business. So everyone get that homework. I think it's a good place to start and get that list. Remember the welcome wagon back in the day? That's kind of what you're going to be, as a welcome wagon. Prospecting. We're going to talk a little bit about this. So listings without agency, for sale by owners, expired listings, neighborhoods, apartment complexes. Be really careful with the apartment complexes. You can mail to them. Be careful leaving something on their door, because I got in trouble twice on that one, because they don't want people buying. Recently sold listings, recently listed properties, charity, volunteer work, corporations, builders, banks, third-party data. Think about this. This goes on and on and on. You know, door-to-door canvassing, booths at some kind of a carnival or a networking. You know, the prospecting is so easy if you actually take it. Is this in y'all's book by any chance, the lead generation activities? Shalaya, do you know if that's on there?
Page 4.3.
Okay, y'all do have it. Super. So take this, and I want you to kind of pull it out and pick the things that you're the most comfortable with. One was builders. Like when I first started, I didn't even know anyone here because I moved here from Florida. And I started going around to new construction communities, and, you know, I'd take coffee to builders, or I would just stop in, and I never even tried to get their business. I just said, can you show me or tell me a little bit about what you do that's different from other builders? I'm not saying that that's what you want to do, is go into new construction. Trust me, it's a little bit daunting, but it's just a way to get out there. And even if you don't represent that person, you understand and know that person. Ask them, say, if I get someone that wants to do, you know, a new construction home, you know, would you be willing to work with me? You know, so these are, I even did some things where I got with a couple of builders and I created a book, and it was floor plans. I came up with the floor plans and I created them, and I got an approximate price of what it would cost to build that house on land. And I always carried that book with me. And so when somebody was talking about building, I'd be like, well, you know, tell me a little bit about what you're thinking of. So when you get a land lead, people are always like, oh, great, it's a land lead. They're only going to pay $30,000 for this piece of land. But if you know how much new construction costs, you're going to be able to educate them on that. And most of the time, they're going to walk away from building because it's very expensive, and they're going to go and purchase a home. So you just need to have your arsenal with you. If you're looking at doing both, which is prospecting and marketing, you know, then you're going to go into the farming, the geographic, demographic, the events, the open houses, the seminars. You know, if you want at our office to do a seminar for first-time home buyers, you can do that. All you have to do is schedule the office after hours with Alice or Shalaya, and you set something up, and that's going to be your special seminar. But don't just do it once. You know, if you want to do a retirement seminar.
That lady who got the sink is here.
All right.
Next door.
Who is this? So I want y'all to know that you have the opportunity to do these things, but you don't want to do it once. You need to do it once a month and let it be on a scheduled time. And what'll happen is you might have 2 people show up for one, and then all of a sudden the next one, maybe you'll have 6, and the next one you might have 12, and you can create your business that way. There is an agent at Smith Mountain Lake who is fairly new. She created her entire business by helping seniors, you know, sell their home into the next phase of their life. That's all she does. And she gets listing after listing because they trust her. And guess what? Who do they know? They know other seniors looking to sell. Does anyone have any questions on some of the things that we've covered? Any limiting beliefs or fears or uncomfortableness? I want y'all to be honest with me, because, you know, I'm not superhuman, and I have my own insecurities and picking up that phone at times, because I've done it for so long. It's made it more second nature to me. But I do remember what it's like having to get out of your car and do it for the first time. I sympathize with you. Does anyone have any questions? Hey, Frederica, I just saw that you're on here. Hey. Another thing too, then you go to the marketing and the pay-per-click and the radio and TV and newspapers, and it goes on and on and on. Some of the things that I have found that I do like, I'm going to share with you. I do like postcards. I think that sometimes if you do have a listing, or you're trying to, say you're brand new and you don't have a listing, and you see a listing in a neighborhood and it sells. Do you know that you can do a postcard campaign in that neighborhood? It's going to be your neighborhood you're going to choose. You can do a postcard campaign and you can send it to everyone in that neighborhood and tell them that that house just sold. Guess what's the funny thing? Half the people in the neighborhood don't even know it wasn't your listing. Once it sells, it is free game and it's no longer belongs to someone else. So, Shai, what's on the next one? This doesn't go along with my book. So, oh, here we go. So we're going to talk a little bit about your database. You know how it's kind of weird, like you get your database and you're like, great, what do I do with it now? This is going to give you a really good idea how to work it. Do y'all have this in your book too? Do you have this one in there? Nobody's answering me. So
Yes, we have it.
okay, I'm gonna get to where mine is. So the 19 to connect, this tells you exactly what you need to do. So I'm gonna give you guys something kind of cool that we have coming up. This is gonna be in the Forest Market, but we have reserved 2 dates. One of them I am doing, I have to get my dates again. We're going to do September 4th, put that on your calendar, and October 9th. Okay, we are going to be sponsoring movie night right down the road. Does everyone know at the Forest office, that little place down there where they have all the food trucks? They are going to be having movie night and we're going to sponsor it. So what you can do is you can invite your people to movie night. That can be one of your events that you're going to do for the year. You don't have to pay for it because we've already paid the $1,500 per night. But we're going to invite, you know, it doesn't start in September until 9 o'clock because that's when it gets dark. So it's kind of a little bit hard on the people that have the younger kids. But we're probably going to base, you know, October a little bit around Halloween. Their movie night has been very successful, you know, but they can come. There's vendor trucks there. You don't have to pay for their food. If you have your own people and you want to do a little something and say you're going to buy ice cream for their kids, you can do that. Or anything, just invite them. That is a way for you to reach out to your database and tell them how important they are and invite them to this. And no matter what market you're in, because we all in different markets, we can create the same thing. Is anyone interested in participating in the movie night? Because Shalia can create some flyers for you and some marketing material and best thing, she can show you how to do it. So the 19 Connect is 4 touches, which means a quarterly phone call. You have to call your people at some point. So you can set on there, if you have 500 people in your database, you can set up, you know, to go ahead and every month you're going to call 200 of them. 12 touches, monthly email, newsletter, market report, video. These are some other things that you can do. They're very easy and you're not in anyone's face. You're not trying to sell them real estate. It's not like you're pushing yourself on them. 2 touches would be a promotional direct mail, such as a magnet, calendar, printed market report, etc. So the printed market report is something people really enjoy. The 1 touch is an annual event party. So that's kind of like our movie night that we're going to do. And then you can invite everyone to it. We do in October, also, we do a trunk or treat. So everyone think about that. It's another way to invite the younger children, the families with younger children to our office. We've been doing that, I think maybe 4 years now. It's been a very huge success. One, to cement a high value touch that solidifies the relationship you have just established and opens the door to future interactions. Then you want to saturate, and that's 36 to convert. And this goes to 4 touches, telephone calls, 26 touches by weekly email. So remember, you can use listings that other agents in the office have and market them to your people, or send them and just say, did you know that this house, just sold? It reminded me of your house. So just remember that you have these things at your fingertips. If you don't know how to do it, just ask. 2 touches, events, get-togethers, parties, promotional direct mail, such as magnet, calendar, and market report. You're kind of doing the same thing as you do on the 19 touch. So remember that 82% of business comes from only 4 sources. The top source generates the most. And that's what we were talking about before. Don't scatter yourself all over the place. Your first target audience is your sphere. If you do nothing else, you're going to have to work with your sphere. Shalaya, what's our next one? Oh, hang on. I have a few more things before we get to that. So let's go into when you lead generate. When you are making your phone calls, or someone calls you, or kind of like what Tyler did, he reached out to the person on Facebook. I want you to ask some questions. When you have a buyer, we're going to talk about buyers and then sellers. When you have a buyer, the more information you ask them, the more you engage, the more they trust you. So if you call a buyer and you say, hey, can I help you sell a house or buy your house? That's not engaging. That's almost insulting. But if you call them up and the first thing you say is, or even like if I have to text somebody, I always say, when's a good time to talk? I just need a few minutes of your time so I can get to know you. So when you do that, it sets you up differently. And I've had so many of my clients tell me that the reason they chose me was because I didn't just start talking about a house, that I actually cared about their family and what their needs were. So you need to do their needs analysis and find out, do they have children? Do they have certain schools they have to go to? Do they like outdoor things? If you like outdoor things, do you want a large lot someplace? Do you want privacy? Are you social? Do you like to be in a neighborhood? Like, we all know the neighborhoods where they have like a lot of houses and very little land. So that's important to ask that. Another thing too is, how many leads do you have in your database right now? If you don't know, or you don't have any, you've got to get some in there. And then you need to think about this. And I had to think about this morning, is how many do I communicate with regularly? I have, upwards to 18,000 people in my database. And I had to really stop and think, I have the certain people, and there's probably 500 people that I talk to on a regular basis personally. And then I have all these others in there, and yeah, they get campaigns and they get this and they get that, but am I really engaging with them? So I want you to think about that as well. How many people you have and how many you engage. Now, if you do a Facebook campaign, how many on here have done a Facebook campaign? I can't see anymore. I got to put you back on here. I can be able to see you. How many of y'all have done a Facebook campaign? I know y'all have done it, so somebody has to answer me. There we go, Cindy. So
yeah, I did one, but I didn't do it right.
yeah, so we do have that class coming up, because if you don't do it right, you're not going to get any leads, because it's a button that you push. And I did the same thing. Hi, George. George has done one too. So when you do that Facebook campaign, even if they don't respond to you, unless their email's bad, if their email is mickeymouse.com, okay, they're bad. But do me a favor and don't get rid of your leads. You can move them to a category that's a little bit different, but don't remove them, because you don't know when that lead is going to be ready to buy that house, or when that, you have no idea. They might today be ignoring you, but you don't know what they're going to do tomorrow. So George, did you tell me a little bit, did you get leads on yours when you did it?
My I did not use it for this yet. I've used Facebook ads for another business I have, but I have not done one for real estate yet.
How did it do on your other business?
I did pretty good. We did a reach of about 6,000 people and got about 1,000 responses. So we did okay.
Yeah, and that's the way they are. And Cynthia, I think I have an idea as to what happened with yours, and we're going to try to correct that because it's frustrating because you know, there's different ways to do it. I have noticed that when you market a house, the house does better than when you just do a blanket marketing yourself or I don't feel like that does as well. But there's a button. Shalaya, do you remember what that button is?
For which part?
For whenever you're doing your Facebook leads, that if you click a different button, that it won't capture their information.
The Facebook lead generation form.
Yeah, so we need to send that to you and let you see, but we're going to do a class on it, and I'm going to get that set up where we have hands-on, and there's going to be several of us in the room working with you. But if you don't click that, do you think that's what happened, Cynthia, that it didn't capture anybody's
It
information?
was like right after my onboarding, and I didn't really know what I was doing. So it was just my face, and so, I mean, a lot of people saw it, and then later I saw like, oh, you put a house on here, and then somebody clicks because they're interested in the house. Like, you don't just put your face on there. So
Oh, I had some like that too. I put my team, nobody was like, I don't care about your team picture, I care about this house over here. I'm like, well, darn, we're so cute. Look at us. I know it is. You do have to have something that captures them. But again, there is a button there. And if you click the other button, it won't grab their contact information. It won't have anything for them to fill out. So they might see it and you'll be like, oh, look, 10,000 people saw me. Oh, nobody signed in because I didn't ask them to.
Right.
So, yeah, but you can, if you're going to use, you can always use my listings, but if you're going to use on somebody else's, you just ask their permission. So, and I tell you, even though you guys are like in Forest, one place that people love to pay attention to is the lake. And even if that's not the market you're in, you can always refer it over, like Michelle and Jennifer are lake agents. You can always send a referral over to them if you don't handle that, but it's a lot of fun because people love looking at lake houses. And you can do these campaigns, spread them out and feel them out. If you're going to spend $20, find out if your $20 does better in New York or New Jersey or in San Francisco, or does it do better here local? And I tell you, I have really found that they're doing very well in other markets. And if you watch the news, you'll kind of know which markets people are trying to get out of, think about COVID. Would you want to live in a high rise with 1,000 people in it? Not really. So, those are some of the people they're looking to retire and get here. So just remember though, that if you don't do anything, nothing happens. I'm going to go through here. So quantity should be your goal in lieu of knowing the impact of your touches. Don't be afraid to touch people too much. They'll tell you, trust me, they will tell you when they want you to leave them alone. I have a woman, there was a little bit of a bugger, and she went on and she was kind of like, I decided to move to North Carolina. I don't want to live there anymore. Remove me. So I did. I was really sweet to her though. And this is the difference. I was like, oh my goodness. Okay, Sarah, thank you so much. If you ever decide to come back, I'm here. Well, last weekend she called up and she's like, well, I can't find anything in North Carolina. I'm coming back. So an agent on my team, was her buyer agent, and they just ratified a $450,000 contract. So just remember, don't get your feelings hurt when they do it. And then I kind of got to know her, and she's just this little grumbly lady, and she's sweet as can be, but she's a little feisty, and she didn't mean anything by it. So don't take it personally when they tell you to remove them, but also don't not send things because you're afraid they're going to ask you to remove them. I always have a couple of them when I do a campaign. They're like, hey, I already bought, or I did this, you remove me. So what I do is I just move them into this thing that says purchased a home, 6 years ago. they're not gone. They're just over in the side so that I can, wait and contact them later on. So, some people, reliably give you referrals and repeat business. Not everyone in your database is the same, and do you have any idea how many people that that would give you a referral and they know somebody that's looking to buy or sell a house? And some of them are your past clients. So not everyone in there is going to be the same. Just like I said, I've got 500 of them that I feel like I talk to all year long in some capacity. Even an attorney that I hired for a family member 6 years ago, because he was in there, he reached out and he was like, hey, my wife and I are looking at selling our house. So you just don't ever know who they're going to be. But again, the keys to success are frequency, consistency, gain permission, and pair value. Remember, you have to gain permission, but remember also that if somebody signs up on your Facebook campaign, they're giving you permission to call them. It's only when you're doing the random calls, like if you're calling, something that, someone has never signed up for anything, they're not on your website where they signed up. Those are the ones you have to be careful with. But even a for sale by owner that's online, they're out there advertising their property. So you can still call and ask if they mind if you come and preview it. So did everyone know that you can call a for sale by owner and preview their home at any time? Like you just ask them if you can come see it. That's the easiest thing in the world to do. I'm telling you, if you go preview their home, tell them there's limited inventory, you just want to take a look at it to see if it would work for any of your buyers or future buyers. I've never had a for sale by owner tell me no. Now, if I called them and I said, can I list your house? They might tell me no. But just, we have time on our side. Just get out of your comfort zone and pick up the phone and call them. They have a lot of agents calling, but for some reason, it depends on the way that you do it. And if you're offering your services or you're trying to give something to them, they're less likely to be defensive. So let's go into here too. So we've talked about the 19 to connect, the 1 to cement, and the 36 to convert. Does anyone in here have their database on any of these touch campaigns? Yeah, I know a lot of you are very new. Is anyone working it? So Shalaya, I think we need to set up our hands-on class that we're going to do, and we'll just incorporate it into productivity. I'm going to put this on my productivity calendar, that we need to set up campaigns with people's databases. Shalaya, are you still here? She's probably working because I have her on here.
Yeah, it was muted. I got you.
I think we need to also, we have a couple of hands-on things that we're going to do like on a weekly basis. I think we should add in here creating campaigns, and that way they're touch campaigns to their database. And this way, Shalai and I can kind of look at it and figure out the best way to do it. Because I think the reason that a lot of people don't do the 36 touch or some of these campaigns is because you don't know how. Once you do it, you're going to understand how to do it, and it'll make a big difference to you. Would y'all like to have that added to productivity to where we already have just some of the things? If y'all weren't on my call yesterday, we're going to do a listing presentation via command. We're going to show you guys how to do your own and personalize it. And then neighborhood snapshot via Kelly and command, Facebook social campaigns via command, RV, AR, and LAR auto prospecting. And then we're going to do create touch campaigns. Is this something that you guys would like to do? I feel like sometimes you learn so much, but if we don't do hands-on, then you're not going to learn as well. You're never going to do these if you don't do some hands-on with us. So Shalaya, what's our, oh, here we go. So I would like for y'all to fill this out. And whoops, go back again. I'd like for y'all to fill this out. How many contacts needed to achieve your goals of economic model? How many contacts are in your database today? Start filling these things in. And how many contacts are needed to add to my database, and how many to add each month, and how many each week. And then write down, if you'll do this, then we'll get back together during productivity and we'll start talking about it. Like your lead generation sources, what are your current ones, and what are the ones you learned today that are going to be in the future? And then your 19 Connect Touch campaign, go ahead and write some details of what you're going to do. Can we all make a plan? This is another homework. Let's make a plan of what we're going to do. And another one is, I want you guys to pick a neighborhood. You don't have to go by yourselves. You can get a buddy to do it. I want you to pick a neighborhood, find one that a house just sold in fast. Okay. It has to be a fast one. And I want you to take that neighborhood and do some door knocking, and just take the flyer and say, this home just sold in 3 days. It was under contract, and there are buyers that missed out on this bidding war, and they are looking for a home. Are you, or do you know anyone who is looking to sell their home in the near future? It is so easy because you are giving them something. You're giving them a gift. And that gift is giving them the knowledge of what that home sold for, because they probably had no idea that that's how good the market is right now.
Hey, Teresa.
Uh-huh.
Can I add to that?
Uh-huh.
So it's a good point. So remember last week I called you and told you I had a client that loved a house close to her, not on the market. And I went down and left a card, and the sellers called me. And your point of, they do know the market. He was a very sweet guy. He even did some background on me and knew what I did in my past. Very, very nice sellers, but he knew the market. And he said, if they gave me the crazy market price right now, even though I have 2 kids and we're super close to the newest elementary school, I would sell it. So if you do plant that seed, people are thinking about it. So I just want to add to that. So
even when they don't know,
not everybody's just going to go knock on a stranger's door, but you know my personality. I don't really care. But the guy was like, I take this as a compliment. No one's ever done that. So if he does, even if he doesn't sell it to my client, he may remember me in the future. He has my card and he knows I'm willing to knock on doors. So anyway.
Exactly. And that's just it, Michelle. You went out there, you did it. Your client had their eye on that house, and a lot of agents just wouldn't have done it because they're scared to, but look, he called you back, and, and he can be one that you add in there and say, hey, would you like me to add you in so you can see the properties that have sold? When you're doing the auto prospecting, it doesn't have to be properties that are for sale. It can be properties that have sold similar to theirs. But no, thanks for sharing that. But it does work. And, if the lady that asked her to knock on the door wants to pay the price, Michelle will have a sale. But if not, she met someone. And all it took was time. It cost you a little bit of gas money. That's it.
Yeah, it was, that's it. I have to buy gas anyway. So
that's right. I always say I made a friend. So I want you guys to really think about this. Now, I'm going to tell you, it's human nature that 80% of everyone is probably not going to do this, because it's going to be daunting and you're going to keep pushing it till tomorrow. And that's why I appreciate you being on these calls, because I think the more you hear it, the more it's going to be a comfort. Just like the scripts, the more you read them, at first they're so ridiculous. And I think they're ridiculous too, by the way. I think they sound silly. But the more you read them, the more your personality comes out in them, and the more it becomes your second language. And then it's the same thing with this. But we will do some classes. I don't like to sit here and just get on a soapbox and talk to you, because I don't like it when people do that to me, but they don't show me how to do it. Because most of the time you're not going to do it if you don't know how. Remember the do not call. We talked about that the other day. Crystal, did everybody get, Crystal sent that out to you? As far as, how to get in touch with the do not call list. So, and you can put the number at the top and it'll search it through. So you're not having to go down it. So it's long. So I want us to walk through a little bit the calculations of the database size. Did y'all know this? Okay, these are statistics and these are good statistics because Keller Williams is the largest real estate company in North America. They have good statistics with a lot of agents. 6% of your database will buy or sell a home this year. So I need you guys to really pay attention. If you have 500 people in there, how many of the 500 people are going to sell a house? Shalaya, do y'all have the formulas on here?
I think they should.
Yeah, so I'm hoping y'all have it. Does anyone have the database size, the example with the following assumptions? If not, I want to get it to you. I don't think it's on our
Page
spreadsheet.
4.15.
Okay, good. So y'all have the same thing. So if you have 500 people in your database times 0.06 times 0.5, that's 15 appointments each year from your database of 500 people. So I'm going to repeat that. It's 500 times the 0.06 and your conversion is going to be 50%. That's 15 appointments each year. So if you take a look at it, and this is another assumption, you have 500 times 0.04 times 0.5, that's 10 appointments a year. What happens if you don't work your database? You're not going to get these 10 or 15 appointments a year. And, I just need to remind you that that's only 500. No one on this call can tell me you don't know 500 people. You've never met 500 people in your lifetime. I could challenge you that I know that if we all went out there, we could meet 500 people this month. Matter of fact, if you go to the movie night, even if you don't know 500 people to invite, you will meet people at the movie night. And, so there are things that you can do, where you can meet these people. So I do want to challenge you to get out there and put these people in your database. I want everyone to have 500 people minimum in your database in the month of August. And then we're going to grow it from there. Question, this is not something to embarrass you. Does anyone need help in learning how to put somebody in your database? I know 50% of you need it, so you might as well say it because I know that it's one of those things to where we know it seems easy, but when you go through this with Shalaya, she teaches you so much that in the end, you walk away and you're like, wow, like that was all really cool, but I have no idea how to do it when I get home. I do the same thing. Shalaya, do I call you a lot?
All the time.
Yes, I will get in there and I start working the doggone thing and one little thing will get me stuck. And I'm like, Shalaya, I don't know how to do this. It can just be one little glitch in there where I can't figure out what the right answer is. So I am not embarrassed to call Shalaya and ask her that question. And I can guarantee any of you that call and ask me, I've already asked Shalaya that question 10 times. So don't be afraid or embarrassed, of how to get your clients into your database. If they're in your phone, I'm going to tell you again, hand your phone to Shalaya. She knows how to get those people from your phone into your database, from your computer into your database. But before you do it, clean it up a little bit. Make sure you have your people in there. You want to have their address, their phone number, and their email. If you only have their email or you only have their phone, don't not put them in there. Just get them in there and you can figure out how to add it later. You don't want to be like me that has a messy database because I didn't get the information. I didn't know to get the information because I started out without Keller Williams. And so all my people weren't in there right, but you're newer and I can help you to put them in there correctly. But if you kind of do this conversion on your own, play around with it. Think about if I had 1,500 people in here, would I have 45 appointments? You will sell houses off of that. I'm going to promise you right now, I will give you my word. If you do what we say, you're going to sell houses from it. It's impossible. You're all lovely people. You're funny. You know, you have friends. There is no way if you go out and just try one of these things that you will not sell real estate. Because the one thing about realtors and salespeople in general is there's always 80% of them who don't really like to work. And you can put yourself in that top 20% of the ones that do want to work. And they're the ones that, if you look at the statistics in real estate and realtors, you'll see that there's the ones that love to work and they're very successful. And they're always, you know, they're always thinking about the next thing that they can do to create their business. And then you have the other ones that are afraid to move the next step. And even if you are that person and you're afraid, you can come to us because that's what we're here for. You know, I mean, we've all had that fear factor. I mean, I was the shyest human being in the entire world before I went into sales. It took everything I had to get out of my car. And I'm not kidding. Like it was awful. I even I would just pretend that somebody else was getting out of the car and that I was staying in the car. I could coach myself in my brain so many times to get myself out of there because I did cold calls and it was not fun. But you know what happened? I eventually got out of that feeling that I had. Is anyone, I see, this is what I don't like about not having the classrooms because I can't see you. Can't see you all. I've got Frederica and Vanessa staring at me. Y'all are on here. So does anyone have any questions from some of the things that we just learned? So we're almost, well, go ahead.
Hey, sorry. Hey, took a minute to find unmute. That vendor thing, don't you have a sheet? It might help some of the other people. That was from a bold one time that gives you a list of vendors.
Michelle.
Yes, ma'am. If not, I bet I have it in my email from
Michelle's
you.
gonna get it. Michelle's gonna get it. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Voluntold, my favorite. Yeah, I can do that. And then Shalaya will know who to email. How about that?
Yep. So
I'll write it down.
Yep. She will send it to Shalaya and she's going to forward it out to you. And it really does help. So I just want to, you know, we're almost finished. I'm not going to have you all afternoon. I know I promised 1 hour. Real quickly, how much time do I have? Ooh, I have 2 minutes. So what have we learned? We're going to lead generate every day, time block for generation. 3 hours consist of, they say to lead generate for 3 hours, but let me tell you what that means. Okay. It doesn't mean standing there for 3 hours calling random people. It means prepare your call list and practice your scripts in that 3 hours. Action calls, text, emails, social posts, door knocking when appropriate. These are some of your things in your 3 hours. And maintain follow-up on any commitments, send notes, log interactions with your database. I want you to think about it. That's just part of getting up in the morning. You know, I mean, when they first told me I had to lead generate for 3 hours, I was like, holy crap, I got to sit here for 3 hours and just call random people on the phone. But it's not, it's a lot of different things that you're going to do in that lead generation time. So let me tell you the 7 steps to avoid not using both prospecting and marketing in your lead generation, especially relying on too much marketing and avoiding prospecting. If you need to avoid something, you need to avoid your marketing. You've got to prospect, but doing both is best. Relying exclusively on referrals for additions to your database instead of generating additional leads from other sources. Don't just sit around hoping somebody's going to send you a lead. You need to get out there and generate your own. Undervaluing the benefits of touch campaigns or not using touch campaigns purposefully. If you do a touch campaign, you're going to get responses from it. Do you know I can do a campaign and I can be sitting there watching TV and sometimes I'll do a campaign, I don't know, for whatever reason, during a commercial. And all of a sudden I'll see it flipping over on my phone, like my Kelly app will start going and all of a sudden they just keep coming in. You know, it's kind of cool. Like it's almost like a little surprise for you. Avoiding the quarterly calls to each person on your database. Do not call people. I'm telling you, And sometimes they're going to talk your head off, but guess what? Not only have you called someone, but maybe you've made somebody's day. And maybe I always think of it as tithing. I'm like, okay, I listened to that person and it was a very long hour phone call, but maybe they just needed to hear a friend. And that's okay, because, if you're a friend to people, they'll be friends back and they will send you referrals. Not entering all leads into your database. Oh my gosh. Like, if you get leads, you got to put them in your database. They don't work if you don't put them in there. Before I had a database, or I knew what one was, I had a shoebox and it had thousands of sticky notes in it. I don't know what made me keep them. I just never threw a lead away, ever. Not an open house flyer, nothing I ever did. Anything that had a signature on it or a name and a number and an email, I never threw it away. Thank goodness, because my poor assistant had to put all those in whenever I joined Keller Williams. Not entering all leads, I did that. Maintaining multiple separate databases rather than one database. Don't have them sporadically all over the place. Before we used to use Market Leader, and I'm getting rid of Market Leader. I waited a while to make sure all my contacts went in, but don't use 1,000 different databases. It just gets confusing. And what happens is things just slip through the cracks, because you can't do a marketing campaign on 5 different databases. And that is a really big one that a lot of agents do. And not taking advantage of Facebook ads in command. It is a very inexpensive lead generation. When you do it, if you do a regular Facebook ad campaign, it doesn't go into command. It doesn't go into your database. Not only that, Gary Keller, who, is the owner of our company, what he did was he has partnered with Google. So his algorithm is larger than what another Facebook campaign might be. And I've tried them both, and I can tell you that the algorithm is better. So if you're marketing, is anyone here from out of the state? Anyone from somewhere else that grew up somewhere else? Vanessa, where are you from?
I'm from Kansas.
Awesome. Oh, Vanessa's from Kansas. That's so cute. Kansas. All right. So you went to school with people there, right? That's your home base. You could try a Facebook campaign there, and send that out to them and find out who, I'm from Florida, so I have my hometown. Try it in your hometown, because even if they're not moving here, those are people that knew you and went to school with you, and they might be looking to do some real estate, and then you can send a referral.
Oh, good idea.
And I'm not kidding. We have an agent. She recently moved, loved her to pieces. Katie was pregnant with twins right when she got her license. Literally, boom, got her license. Oops, I have twins. She was on bed rest, and she sold over $2 million in referral while she was on bed rest with that baby.
Wow.
But she was from, I think, Maryland. It was somewhere up in Northern Virginia. And she just started hitting her town. So, she had nothing else to do, because she really was trapped in that bed. But the difference is she didn't do nothing. She actually went out and made it happen. So, these are just ideas that you can do, and do your Facebook campaigns and find out. It's not like you're paying $1,000 for a lead. You can pay $20 to $20, to market something. If you can do, a for sale by owner, or you're going to do somebody's open house, you need to ask the agent, but you can market that open house as your own. You're the one doing it. So get out there and get that marketing. Again, we talked about this yesterday. When you get to your open house, or even if you want to do a video tour for someone, you ask another agent and say, do you mind if I do a video tour and put it on Facebook? Get out there and get in front of that camera and go through the house. These are simple things you can do. Just always ask permission. There's another agent at our office. She's huge on that. She does video tours. She's done them of all of mine. She just gets out there. Make yourself different. So we're gonna, I know that we're kind of beyond our time, and I think we're pretty good. But does anyone have any questions before we go?
I have a question. Is auto prospecting something that could be added to the hands-on
Yes.
class?
Hang on. I think I have that. Hold on. That one is so important. Hold on. La, 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 la. Yes. And we're going to teach We'll probably have 2 teachers in there. One is going to teach the RVAR, which is the Roanoke side, and we'll have somebody else teaching the Lynchburg Association. Of course, they're both completely different. Nobody can have the same thing. The auto prospecting is so important. So yes, we will have that on the agenda. And we had a lot of people yesterday were saying it would be really nice because school's starting if we could do it maybe like at 10 o'clock in the morning after people are dropping off their kids and before they pick them up. But we are going to get that set up, and we'll do them in different areas. We'll do some at the lake, you know, some in Lynchburg, Amherst. We can go over there, and we can do some in Bedford. But again, you guys just remember with this hands-on, keep your mask on while we're close to each other. But yes, it is on my list, and we're going to go ahead and get a calendar together, and Shalai will send that out to you. Is anyone on here, not to put you on the spot, Michelle and Jennifer and Vanessa, who does the auto prospecting that would like to help teach that class? Because we need a lot of people in there helping. Kathy, have you done them? I think I lost you guys.
Hey, I can help with the Roanoke. I don't, Lynchburg. Don't get me started.
Yeah, don't get me started.
Teresa, I've done hot sheets. I've tried auto prospecting with Lynchburg, and I can't get it to work the way I want it to.
Well, that's fine. Then you just come to the class and we'll all figure it out together. But we'll get a couple people to teach how to do it. It's a little bit daunting because we're going to write down notes for you so that you can remember how to do it. But it is a good practice.
I'll say this, the RVAR is easier than LAR.
Agree. And sometimes LAR is harder in other things. It is not harder in this one.
Yeah.
I know. LAR has a few extra steps that you forget every time you go into it, what those steps
Yeah, and
are.
if you forget one step, then it just doesn't even work. So
Yep, I agree with you. Yeah, I'll give RVAR some kudos on that one. But we're going to set this up for y'all because if you don't do anything else, oh my gosh, just do that auto prospecting because you don't have to do anything. It keeps sending them the listings as they come on the market. All right, we'll set that up for next week. And, we can always maybe set it up for right after a class while you're already there. All right, y'all have a good one. Tomorrow, don't forget, is the dunk tank. Don't dunk me, but you can dunk Alice and Stephen Acree. Y'all be gentle and nice to me because I'm old. And but we hope to see y'all there. If anyone doesn't have any information on it, reach out to Shalaya. It should be a fun day. All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.